oral tradition, performing arts, social practices, because of their historical, artistic, scientific, urban planning or folkloristic significance. One word is missing. Which word is missing? Farmhouses, simple houses where people on the countryside used to live. It's a significant building that shows us or that leads us into the times of industrialization in Germany. India has 37 UNESCO listed buildings. But still, whenever I come to India, I miss the ambassador. Decent, simple, but it reflects the society of the post-war generations. Place where I come from, Munich, BMW headquarter, worldwide headquarter. The BMW will change its policy and change its headquarter. The BMW tower has to be preserved. Come to your country, I try to get as much out of it on information what I get. Please allow me, I try to open your eyes for your post-independent architecture is a marvel. Doshi's buildings, they have to be preserved. No doubt, Doshi is in this ranking on a very special. Or the Kanchenjunga Tower in Mumbai. Marvels of architecture. Another important name, Achyut Kanvinde, IIT Kanpur. Please have a look at them and please maintain them. And is the Asian Games Village, also a very important urban structure in Delhi. In 1972, this was the standard. They are not concrete. The brick structures. We've been to the old part of Udaipur this morning. We've seen a lot of heritage. Heritage from the last 3, 4, even 500 years we've seen on Old Haveli. I want to give a short overview what our heritage is, and I want to take you into the 20th century. This is the focus where I'm working with our heritage from the 20th century. But let's start with our heritage as UNESCO is defining. We have tangible and intangible heritage. The intangible heritage, it's our culture, our tradition, oral tradition, performing arts, social practices, knowledge concerning nature and the universe, and traditional craftsmanship. This is defined by UNESCO as our intangible heritage, and India is full of it, full of all these intangible heritage matters. But what I'm trying to tell you or talk about is the tangible one. And even here, India is a marvel amongst all the countries. Monuments. Plenty of very important monuments to mankind. Buildings like Jaipur, or artifacts. Your country, which I admire, is full of all these heritage of the human race. But also cultural landscape, the landscape that the human formed is heritage. Works of art, and last but not least, also books, documents, they are our heritage. And even maps, manuscripts, paintings, this is all our heritage. All the letters written by Mahatma Gandhi, they are heritage to the mankind. But now let's go to our built environment. What is an architectural monument? Students, what is a monument, an architectural monument? It's hard. It's easy to define, to find a definition. If you Google, you'll find a definition for everything in life. An architectural monument is a building or structure that holds, and now an important word, significant historical, cultural, architectural, or social value. So the value is an important factor. It has to have a historical, cultural, architectural, or social value. And it's often recognized and preserved for its outstanding qualities. Try to find a definition. Coming to my country, it's obvious. The cathedral in Cologne, 500 years of building, is, of course, a national heritage. But going to India, Udaipur City Palace is your personal heritage here in the city. Or in Jodhpur, the Torchika, Jalra, the stepwell, that's heritage. Listed or not, we don't talk about that. It's just want to find the definition and a word for what is our heritage. Golgar and Patna has nothing to do with splendor or palaces. It's a storage, and it's your national heritage. And now coming to 20th century, interesting. Everybody is talking about Le Corbusier, Chandigarh. It's not listed in any of your national heritage lists, but it is your heritage. Same, and now the last slide from this section. Mill Owners Association, Ahmedabad, a jewel in architecture, done by Le Corbusier, a French, but it's your national heritage because it implemented a lot of new development in India. Now let's take a look at the laws, bylaws. India has, start like that, the MASR, Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Sites, and Remains Act 1958. What does this law mean? An ancient monument, it tries a definition as well. An ancient monument refers to any building, monument, tomb site or vestige, which is, and that's a very interesting aspect, at least 100 years old, and of historical, archaeological, or artistic interest. And it includes the remains of such. So you have the 100 years old and historical, archaeological, artistic interest. Interest to the people, interest to the society. And I just Googled a few days ago and found this interesting list. The city of Udaipur has, according to this list, it may not be the least, the most actual one, 170 buildings listed as architectural heritage of Udaipur. Now I take you to my country. We have similar but slightly different perception of heritage. Slightly different, but it makes in the end a very big difference. We are a federal state, so all the states of Germany have similar laws and bylaws. I tell you the Bavarian part where I come from. Munich is the capital. We have a definition of heritage that tells us protected means heritage listed buildings are man-made objects, pluralities of objects, or parts of objects So not only the object itself, even the interior is protected, or parts of it. And now a very important word from bygone age, in which there is a collective public interest in their conservation and use because of their historical, artistic, scientific, urban planning, or folkloristic significance. Let's go through this. The most important difference to the ASR is these 4 words. You have 100 years. We have from a bygone age. What's a bygone age? What is a bygone age? And the building has to be of collective public interest. So there must be a collective public interest in conservation because of their historical, artistic, scientific, urban planning, or folkloristic significance. One word is missing. Which word is missing? Beauty. A building doesn't need to be beautiful or attractive or whatever. It has to follow historical, artistic, scientific, urban planning, or folkloristic significance. Beauty is not a factor. And coming back to the very most important thing in this definition is bygone age. What is a bygone age? Bygone age refers to a period of time in the past that's no longer present or current. Nothing 100 years, maybe 50 years, maybe 25 years. Some architectural phases or in architectural history, bygone. Nobody is designing or building in the brutalism style like in the 50s, 60s and early 70s. This is for us, for our understanding in my culture, in my country, a bygone age. So we have a listing, a protection for buildings that are not older than 50 years, even younger. Protection by law. And just a very, very rough overview. The Neuschwanstein Castle, all tourists come to see that, is 200 years old. The Olympic Stadium was inaugurated in 1972, 50 years old. Both are protected, heritage listed buildings. And it's obvious that both of them are important for our tradition. The residence of Würzburg, where my university is a Baroque castle, 250 years or 1780 something. This is heritage listed. Also, another Baroque castle, the Wieskirche, a jewel, marvelous architecture by a very, very talented Baroque architect, painter and sculptor, is heritage listed. But on the right side you see a building, a church from 1968 in a concrete brutalism style, and this is heritage listed and protected. And we don't have a grading like here. Listed and protected means listed and protected. 500 years old or 50 years old doesn't make a difference. The inner city of Frankfurt, for instance, all buildings, most of them are heritage listed. Farmhouses, simple houses where people on the countryside used to live, those who have been still intact or those who are still in operating their farms, etc. Most of them are heritage listed. Architecture from the industry, industrial architecture. Fargus, Alfeld, by Gropius. It's a national monument. It's a listed national monument, as well as Zeche Zollverein by an anonymous architect. But it's a significant building that shows us or that leads us into the times of industrialization in Germany. Urban ensembles are protected. Inner cities, which still had somehow preserved their medieval structure. City of Bamberg, for instance, city of Rothenburg, or maybe even the city of Regensburg, close by my place. In this city, it looks like a bit chaotic, but if you analyze it, on the ground floor plan, or on the plan from the city, you can see the blue square site. This is a Roman foundation, 2,100 years old, and this is the medieval extension, and you still can figure that out in the city plan. And even while walking in the city, you see in this part, not everything, but most things are rectangular, and this is medieval structure, very chaotic. And we do not only list buildings, we also do a listing of gardens, green landscape architecture. Even landscape architecture is protected under the law. The Baroque garden, somewhere in northern parts of Germany, as well as the Olympic Park around the Olympic Stadium, which I showed briefly before. So these are our heritage listed buildings, and that's what we are working for. In the end, that leads to a number which is maybe a bit frightening. In Germany, we have 660,000 buildings listed. Quite a lot. Really a lot. But our government, and the local governments are subsidizing the people owning heritage listed buildings. They are subsidizing them, they help them to maintain. We have 52 UNESCO listed objects, and I think India has 37 UNESCO listed buildings. So, Bavaria, the state where I live, we have 110,000 listed buildings. Now I want to take you to the 20th century. I'm always talking about old-timers and young-timers, because old-timers more than 100 years old, heritage listed, whatever, and young-timers. And everybody knows, of course, the old cars, but still, whenever I come to India, I miss the ambassador. To be honest, I miss it. We have building stock from the 20th century, which is important to the architecture, to the architectural development worldwide, by Bauhaus, by Corbusier, by Gropius, by all the big names. Many of them, Mies van der Rohe, all of them, many of them worked in Germany or came from Germany. So Weissenhof, 1929. We have 2024. By Indian law, this could not be a listed heritage. And listing does not only mean being in a list, it also means being protected. And it's our duty to protect those buildings. If it's the Corbusier building in Stuttgart, or if it's the Bauhaus in Dessau, both buildings were a milestone in architecture, and in my opinion, it's our duty to protect it. In Frankfurt, 65. Looks decent, simple, but it reflects the society of the post-war generations. It's under protection, it's listed, and we preserve it as good as we can. Preservation does not mean conservation. We don't conserve it in a special manner. We change it, we adopt it to our day-to-day use nowadays, but we maintain the structure, we maintain the building, we maintain, if possible, the usage. So we try to maintain, but not conserve it like in a museum. Olivetti Towers, Frankfurt, a very famous architect, Egon Eiermann. Tall buildings with a stamp inside, or on the right side, a shell structure, Warnemünde. Those buildings were milestones in architecture in the 60s, in the 70s. And that's why we try to preserve them. The place where I come from, Munich, BMW headquarter, worldwide headquarter. The BMW tower is a landmark in my city. Whoever comes to Munich, he will pass by, and he will. It's right next to the main road. So the BMW tower is a landmark, and even if BMW will change its policy and change its headquarter, the BMW tower has to be preserved, as well as one of the youngest listed buildings we have. It's from a bank, People Bank, from 1981. I show you some pictures afterwards. And now what's coming next? This was architecture of the 50s, 60s, 70s. The last one was the first of the 80s. And what's coming next from the 80s? There is architecture from the 80s which I think we have to preserve, not for us, but for the next generation, for the students and the students of the students. So the 100 years we should discuss. I'm not a specialist in Indian architecture, but whenever I come to your country, I try to get as much out of it on information what I get. I want to just open, please allow me, I try to open your eyes for your independence architecture, because post-independent architecture is a marvel. You have roughly 4 phases, The Nehruvian modernism, the critical regionalism, postmodern, eclectic architecture, and contemporary and sustainable architecture, which is from around about 2000 till now. There's so much to say about that, but let me just focus on the Nehruvian modernism after independence, and you find all the important names. You find Doshi, you find Correa, Stein, Kanwinde, Rajewal, Habib Rahman, Mahinda Raj as a structural engineer. And you can add to this list maybe 100 more. Please excuse me. For me, these 7 are of the very most important. So let me please start and end with those. Doshi, of course. Doshi's buildings, they have to be preserved. And not only Sangat is a universe in itself, but the Brimabai Hall, the city hall, Ahmedabad City Hall, it's in a very, very bad state now, extremely bad state. So I'm not sure, maybe Yatin knows more what's going to happen with this building. It's a important building. It's not beautiful in our today's perception, but it's a very important building from the early 70s. And it's an important building to India, to Ahmedabad, by an important architect from India by Doshi. Or this is from the backside. The sculpture of this building is a phenomenon. It's unbelievable if you try to walk around. One of Doshi's first buildings in Ahmedabad, the Institute of Indology, Brutalism, influenced by Corbusier. Very important building in the architectural history of India. And last but not least, you can add 50 more of buildings to that list. IIM in Bangalore. IIM Bangalore. Also a marvel, still in use, adapted. People use it, students use it, the universities use it. So, no doubt, Doshi is in this ranking on a very special position, but you have plenty more. Just Charles Correa with this tower either in, where is the Videshwara tower? Where is it? I think it's in Bangalore. Bangalore, so. Or the Kanchenjunga Tower in Mumbai. Marvels of architecture. And the simplest and one of the first projects from Korea, the Gandhi Ashram in Ahmedabad, 62. It wasn't his first? No, but anyway, the Gandhi Ashram, if you walk through this structure, to this open space, it's amazing. I'm always pleased to be there. Korea did some projects with a very important structural engineer, Raj Mahendra. The stadium in Ahmedabad. Yatin just tells me it's going to be removed. What a shame. Please keep it. Please keep it. Another important name, Achyut Kangvinde, IIT Kanpur, or a much younger building from the 80s, the National Dairy Development Board. Those are marvels. Please have a look at them and please maintain them and honor them. Rajreval, I think it's removed. It's lost forever. So we can show the students just pictures, and that's not fair. And another project from Rajreval, which is still there, and I hope it will remain, is the Asian Games Village. Also a very important urban structure in Delhi. And last but not least, Habib Rahman, with a very wide range of excellent buildings. Kuldeep Singh in Delhi, again together with Raj Mahendra. And I hope you can add to this list hundreds more. Please do. Please do. Or taking care of this, conservation may be not the right word, but taking care of these young timers. Now we are on the young timers side. We have to take a lot of effort. We have to find this. This is the Olympics stadium of the Olympic Games, 1972 in Munich, the largest tent worldwide ever since. No structure has ever been created bigger than this by Gunter Benisch, architect, and Frei Otto, structural engineer. Unbelievable building, and if you analyze it, before conservating or doing any measures with any measures with this building, you have to analyze it, how it's constructed. And it's constructed in an extremely interesting way. They put the wire mesh on the ground, and then they lifted it, and they put the cladding, the plexi cladding later on. A very, very interesting building site. And if you're working on that, you have to know how they made this building. So this is how Frei Otto designed it, and how the people, the laborers on site, worked on it. Another building just next to it, 300 meters, as the crow flies. BMW headquarters, same time, 72. The building was built from top to bottom. They first constructed the internal core, staircase, lift, supply, all these things inside. They produced the floors, the slabs on the ground, and you see cables, they lifted the whole structure up. So they built the core and then lifted the rest from bottom to top. Very interesting. And if you work on that, if you do some renovation, conservation, whatever, you have to know how this building was constructed. And of course, you have to adapt it to the modern world. In 1972, this was the standard, but it wasn't useful for BMW as a headquarters during the last 20 years. So they adopted it to modern architecture. And on the right side is how it looks today. Same this office building, bank office building. Not same, similar construction. These three columns are of concrete, and the floors and the slabs are hanging inside the construction. So right now, a bank office always wants to show we're looking into the future, so they wanted to change the interior, and they renovated, refurbished the interior after 30 years, and in a very sustainable way. They got the LEED standard platinum, which is the highest level achievable in the LEED. And just let me show you a picture how it looks like now. Very modern, very spacey. But it is a national listed heritage building. So everything which was done here was done in cooperation with the authorities, and authorities also know if you don't adapt architecture, then the people will not use it. Ronchamp, I take you to France, our neighboring country, Ronchamp by Le Corbusier. Everybody knows this fantastic church. It's wonderful. If you have a chance to go to France, please go there. It's unbelievable. Anyway, they are having serious problems with the structure. The concrete, the surface has cracks. The reinforcement is rusting. A lot of failures. The cracks, the plaster has cracks. They have really, it's damaged, and they have to reconstruct it. So this is what you find on some places: wire mesh with concrete, rest or plaster, and big, huge cracks. So what has to be done with such a structure? You have to document. You have to find out all the cracks, all the problems, document them, and then go into the archives and find out how this Corbusier built this, constructed these buildings. And this is the original plan. On the right side, you see Corbusier on site, and you see something in the back. So this looking concrete tower, it's brick. So all these elements here, they are not concrete. They're brick structures plastered with a concrete structure. Another picture. These are the same, right? They used the residues, the stones from a church that was on site before. And this is the very important wall from Le Corbusier. Some people say it's the most important wall of the 20th architecture of the 20th century. I doubt, but it could be. This wall these are original drawings by Corbusier, has cracks. The cracks are documented. And now if you see this structure here, this is the wall. It looks solid. It looks solid. But going in the pictures from the building site, we are talking about this wall. It's not solid, it's a concrete structure, hollow. Here again, you see that? So you must know that to repair, the structure. And the technique that Corbusier used is called shotcrete spray concrete. So it's sprayed with a pump. And the wire mesh you've seen in the very first picture is the last layer of that. So if you repair or try to repair this structure, you have to know about this technology, about this method. And in the end, if you look at the walls or wall structure in Ronchon, you see there are horizontal lines where the structure of the plaster is changing, and this is always one level of the scaffolding. So layer by layer by layer, they apply the plaster, and it gives a horizontal structure. Very obvious if you know when you know how they produced it. And repairing that takes a lot of effort. Ronchon is people work in Ronchon now since 5 years on that for refurbishment, and they do a lot of redesign of the concrete. And in the end, we should preserve it as one of the most important churches of the 20th century, although it's from 1955. And under the Indian law, it would not be a protected heritage listed building. Thank you very much.